Now looking at solving trig equations in a specified domain, we have page 211 here, question 5, starting with 3 cos theta minus 1 is equal to 4 cos theta within this specified domain. So first, I'm going to subtract 3 cos theta off both sides because we can actually treat these as if they were a variable, and so what we end up with is negative 1 is equal to cos theta. Now thinking about cos theta, cos is a simply adjacent over hypotenuse. So if we have a value of 1, that means that our adjacent side has to be equal to our hypotenuse. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cast rule to understand what quadrants we're looking at, which in this case is going to be quadrant 2 and quadrant 3 because it's negative. So if we think about what our triangles have to look like in these quadrants, they roughly need to look like this. However, one thing to note is that in order for our adjacent side to be equal to our hypotenuse, the other side needs to be equal to 0. In other words, these both fold in on the x-axis, which means that we actually only have one answer, which is 180 degrees. Lastly, you just simply convert that into radians, which is just equal to pi because of our specified domain is in radians, which means that our answer is just theta is equal to pi. We do not have any coterminal angles in our specified domain, so that is our only answer. Moving on here, we have root 3 secant theta plus 2 equals 0. The first thing to do is to isolate for secant theta. So what we end up with is just secant theta is equal to negative 2 over root 3. Now if we think about what secant is, it's just 1 over cos theta, which makes this the hypotenuse and this the adjacent side. What that tells us is we're dealing with this special triangle. So what we're dealing with is the 30-degree, 60-degree special triangle, which tells us that this is root 3, this is 1, and this is 2. However, cos is negative, so using the same cast rule, we know what quadrants we're in. So in other words, we are here and we are also here, and because the adjacent side is root 3, that means these two angles are 30 degrees. So now, writing out the full angle, we have 180 minus 30, so 150. We also have 30 degrees plus 180, so 210 degrees. However, if we look at our domain, we actually have 180 degrees in the negative, which makes us hit the 100 or 210 degrees. So we just go 210 degrees minus 360, which is going to be negative 150, which is another answer. As well, 3 pi means we have a full rotation and then another pi. So we're actually going to hit 150 degrees again, but we need to add 360, and we end up with 510 degrees. So in other words, we actually have 4 answers here because of our specified domain. However, last thing is to change it into radians because that's what the specified domain is in. So we have negative 5 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, and 17 pi over 6. And those are all of our answers for theta. If you're looking for any personalized or one-on-one help, you can check the link below.